Guys, it's me, Jen,
And I'm Liam, and welcome to Unlimited Time Magic.
where the magic is you.
Enjoy the episode, and we'll see you on Main Street. Bye! I had a tour yesterday at Everest. I went right over there, was Tarzan Rocks. Put your faith in what you most believe in. And then the person kept on talking about Tarzan Rocks, and I went, to everybody.
And then here's Liam. Oh, I'm sorry. Once I start that song, I actually have to go all the way through to the end.
The end of Tarzan Rocks. And it was like a full 22 minutes. Hi, dear listeners, and welcome to
Oh my gosh,
17.
you guys. Okay.
Hey.
Liam has already had a week, and it's only Wednesday.
Yeah.
So whatever he says, he probably doesn't mean it. Let's talk for a moment about Hocus Pocus 2.
Oh,
did we
did you
talk
watch
about
it?
Hocus Pocus 2?
I think the last time we talked about it.
We talked about it
on Patreon, the Patreon episode. That's what we talked about.
Yes. So my son had an interesting observation about Hocus Pocus 2 along the lines of what you just talked about.
Please, yeah.
He said, I'm so sick of every evil person having to have this like origin story that makes you feel sorry for them. He's like, can't we just have like the bad guy just be the bad guy? Like, do we have to go back and
I'm
talk
sorry,
about...
but Winifred's not that bad. Like, she really isn't. Like,
I mean, if you aside from the eating children thing, what else does she really do?
Correct. I'm like,
and I correct. He said that, and I said, to be fair, she doesn't eat them.
No,
she just sucks their life force.
Yeah.
So you know that Kenny Ortega,
musical theater.
Thank you. Wanted to make the original Hocus Pocus a musical. And they only put the one song in. Fine, whatever. Then this one, I felt like in the opening sequence, we were going there. I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting a musical. Didn't it kind of feel like that?
Yeah.
Kind of felt like we were getting a musical.
I appreciated that they did a prelude. They did like a prologue into the film.
Loved it. But
just like the first
they did the song, that first song, I thought, oh, we're getting this. And then it wasn't random. And then it wasn't.
I didn't like it. Because if in the original one, I Put a Spell on You, it felt like a random musical number that kind of felt, oh, there's a word for it and I can't think of it. But it's in musical theater when a character is singing on purpose within the story. So like in that particular circumstance, it was a cover band and Winifred said, oh, I could sing and put a spell on them. That's the thing, right? So Winifred is actually singing. It's not just a musical where the language is song. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And the particular number I'm thinking about, The Witches Are Back, it just felt like it came, I was like, that was 45 seconds of nothing. Like, why did we do that?
Well, and that number was done in a traditional musical sense. Does that, and then you still had the number they did. Now I can't even remember the song
One
that
way
they did. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
It was weird.
I feel like if you're going to do a musical, do a musical. If you're not going to do a musical, don't do a musical. I get confused when we kind of are in between.
Well, and I mean, like we said, in the first one, it made sense. I Put a Spell on You made sense because she goes, I'm banging some pie up and baby. Like it made sense and it's fun.
Right.
And Kenny Ortega is so campy, and when their characters are so at that level, it's really fun. So it's like Hocus Pocus was fun. But no, I mean, we're in the last few weeks of fall, really. I mean, I know November is fall, but
I don't know. October every year goes so quickly. I honestly think it's got to be the fastest month that exists. I don't know how time works exactly. I don't
I'm an idiot. I'm
to
so
know
dumb.
time. But why is like August interminably long and October is 3 minutes? I think it has to do with humidity. I think humidity must slow down time. That's the only plausible explanation.
I would fully agree with that. I'd fully agree with that.
I think we need to write a book about that. That's a
Jen,
meteorological.
How was your week though? Because you had a lot of businessy things this week that like
so much businessy,
work.
So much businessy. So we will let you know, dear listener, that this is our second recording of this podcast.
This is the only time we've ever. No, I think we did it once in season 1. But this is the second time. The first one, no, we've had technological problems before that we had to re-record.
However, this time we had psychological problems.
Correct. One, my energy I had none of it. Jen took us a 360 around the world.
I don't even know.
And there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason we went down that path.
So really. There is a reason for me, and it makes sense based on what we were just talking about. I have a limit to how many like meetings I can have in a day. And this was true back when I had like a normal career too. And in fact, I had a beautiful executive assistant named Sherry Sharp. We're still friends.
What a name.
I know. And she fit her name. And she was one of these people that just like honestly felt more like a big sister to me than my administrative assistant. She loved me. She took amazing care of me. I like to think I took great care of her. But she would schedule me in such a way that she knew, because of my personality, because I'm a people-oriented introvert, that I could only handle so many hours of meetings.
Right.
And it wasn't just a matter of that I would get cranky. I would become ineffectual as trying to do my job because I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I do reach a point where like, I just can't, I'm just everywhere. And man, my brain will not come in.
The problem is I say yes and. So she asks and I go, let's go. So he
just goes down the, yellow brick road with me. And
guys, it was 35 minutes long. We went down the yellow brick road. Like nothing to do with this podcast, but it was great.
At some point we'll release it. Maybe for our patrons, we'll release it. It's unhinged. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I didn't even tell you this part. I woke up in the middle of the night and well, let me say, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
But it was a conversation you and I would have by ourselves.
It's like we forgot we were recording a friggin' podcast
about Disney and mental health. And we were talking about the state of musical theater. Our patrons, if you want the episode, just message us on the unlimited Instagram and
middle of the night. This is, we talk about capitalism. We went everywhere.
Slavery.
Middle of the night, my eyes pop open. I look at the ceiling and I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, what was that even? Like, we can't release that. So I texted him and I'm like, hey, so how do we feel about the episode? Because I'm thinking it was nuts.
It was. However, the center point of that episode and the center point of this episode is the same exact thing.
Oh, it is.
Wait,
let me go back to let me finish what I was saying. Because today I am feeling fairly clear-headed. What I was saying was the day we recorded was like a day like that for me because I've got so much business to catch up on. So I'm repeating something I already told Liam, which doesn't make sense that I just told you that because you would have listeners have no way of knowing that I already told Liam this, but Liam knows I already told Liam this. So when you have a job like mine and you're a travel vlogger, it's two parts. You go out and you get content and then you come back and you have to do the business side of things. And then because I have a travel content channel and then I have a lifestyle content channel, I also have to film footage and get all of that done. So my travel, it's not like I have a team of people here at home working hard while I'm traveling. I still have to come back and do all of the catch up. So I had client meetings. I had a different type of consulting thing that I'm involved with. I had tons of just like email back and forth conversations. It was a crazy day.
It was a long day.
So by the time Liam got me, I had been talking, no lie, I added it up 4 hours of conversations that I was like in charge of guiding the conversation.
Yeah.
And
like,
consulting is so fun. But Liam, you've done it because you do the vocal coaching.
Right.
It's very draining because you're really focused on the other person. Your listening skills have to be totally heightened and you're in charge of that time. So that was,
and you want to feel like your client is getting not only what the hunger that they want from however they actually hired you, but on top of it, you want to present new ideas that they never even thought of. So it's like what Jen just said, there's hours of prep time. There's hours of, making sure that they feel taken care of. So
and my one client is on her way to Tokyo Disney on Sunday, and it's her first time vlogging. And so I wanted to give her like all of my best tips and tricks without overwhelming her. And so there's a lot of give and take. And all that to say, fantastic week. It's only Wednesday. Scott's been on a trip. I try really hard to do the bulk of my work when he's out of town. And then when he's off, we can be off together, and he gets home tonight. So anyway,
after this, it's going to be in the clear.
One would hope.
One could pray. It is a beautiful day in Orlando right now. It is 58, 57. And so I'm wearing a jacket, I'm wearing like a sweater, and I'm wearing a beanie, and I'm living my New York truth, which has been super, super lovely.
That's so cold for Orlando too. That's so crazy, especially for
like October.
Right.
Right. Right. And
yeah.
I did announce on, which kind of leads us into the episode in itself, is I told our patrons just a little bit early that I have decided to leave my current role at Expedition Everest, which is something I announced also on my Instagram page as well. And the decision kind of came, I mean, Jen was there from like every kind of step of the decision making. I didn't just make the decision. I hope
it works out, because I'm going to feel really bad.
My face. I'll send you a photo, like a faxed copy of me going, no. A part of this decision was, frankly, the kind of role that frontline cast members take. After about 6 or 7 months, you need something brand new in order to not feel stale, feel negative, feel like you're living in the same like purgatory loop. And I felt the feelings. I'm very good at listening to myself. And we are gaslit a lot of the time, especially as we're being raised, to not listen to the voice inside of us. And through my own work in therapy and journaling, I am realizing that, you know, that little voice in your head that also beats you up, there's also a little voice in your head that's like, yo, listen to yourself. This is your gut speaking. And if you spend any more time here, you will be more of a nuisance to work with than a blessing. And I knew that was going to happen. It always happens, especially in attractions, because you just get bored. I start serving myself a lot more than I start serving others. And that's when I know it's my time to leave. And so I did. I decided I was going to go from part-time to full-time back to part. At least for the next few months, because I was presented an opportunity to start singing some more, to start teaching some more. And not only financially does it make more sense for me, but I'm branching back into the entertainment department over at Disney.
So, and we talked about this a little bit last week, because you were still not 100% sure what your decision was going to be.
Right.
I'm so happy with where you've landed. And I'm happy because I'm also happy because I know as a vocal coach, you have such an ability to just be really good at that and be really encouraging and really positive. And I know you've had some amazing vocal coaches that have affected you in such a positive way. So I think it's such a better use of your talent. And I think it's who knows what happens next, right? So all we can do is walk through every open door.
And that's literally what I'm kind of like taking it as. I'm like, you can't really plan for what the next thing is. Like, you really can't. I think you can have dreams, you can have aspirations, right? But
what'd you call me? You know what you are? You're a pain in my aspirations.
Also, my roommate gave me this. So I did my last tour yesterday too of Expedition Everest. Really, really fun group, really lovely. It was great. But my roommate is also a tour guide for Tower of Terror. And all of our friends on YouTube, they started giving these out to people who take the tour. And there are 2 incredible people that work over at Tower of Terror, and they got this approved by Imagineering to give to people. Like, that's a big deal. And like, it has a little message on the back.
Oh my gosh.
And then Disney said, how about like we'll buy them for you so they don't have to pay out of pocket to do it. So somebody paid out of pocket to design it. But isn't that incredible? That's so cool. We don't give anything in an Expedition. Okay. So if you're watching on the podcast or listening on the podcast app, watch us on YouTube too, because
you know that I don't really do like framed Disney art or whatever in my home, but I do love a like subtle Disney nod that doesn't look like a Disney thing at all. Because then if someone's but I mean, then it's cool, because if someone comes over and they are a Disney fan and they see it, they would be like, I totally know what that is.
And it's also your job too.
Yeah.
So there's a part of it.
Yeah. I actually have been looking for some more subtle Disney, and I don't want Mickey and I don't want bright colors. I want like stuff that would look like totally suitable in my home, but that has some kind of Disney architecture.
If anybody has, please follow us on Instagram and like tell us, because I will send it to Jen.
If there's like an Etsy shop or
I love small business.
The kind of like sepia toned the antique stuff, all of that, totally up my alley. So
Jen, how do you feel? Because a lot of our patrons over on our Patreon asked us how we felt about Fantasmic coming back. That is just announced.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Are you like, I'm excited, but I don't need a rush? Like, where are you?
Okay, you know that I love Fantasmic when I'm watching it, and I hate it when it's over. So, because the leaving,
it's horrific. Right. Specifically at World at Studios, it's pretty bad.
Disneyland is a no-brainer for me. That's super easy. If you don't care that you have a great view, there's plenty of places to see it. You could also do the dining package, and then when you leave, it's just not a big thing. But because that theater only has one exit, it just feels
awful. I always wait. I wait 20 minutes until everyone leaves.
Your choices, to me, if you're we've established that I don't do well with like crushed in people, like to the point where poor Liam has to like hold my hand when we're going through, like I'm a 5-year-old, because she goes, yeah, I'm like, I get super anxious and it's a whole thing. And it, part of it's from being the youngest. Like Liam, you've got this too. Like right. You're used to being like the last people forgetting about you, and like that you're little and then they can't find you. And when you're the youngest by a lot of years, it's your job to not get lost. It is nobody's job to be safe.
And you're like, no one take me, please.
Yeah, and you don't even realize that you're doing it, but you realize that the people in charge have too much going on, so they're not going to know where you are. Right. So you have to make sure that you're safe. So I would always position us as a family either in the not so great seats. So as you walk into the theater, all the way on the right, so that we could be in the first group leaving, and then we would like go as quickly as possible. Does that make sense? So that we could be ahead of the crowd, or be all the way on the other side and then just like chill out.
Mosey, which is
I think if you and I do it, I will probably like get an alcoholic beverage and just sit and wait until we have to leave. And if you've never done it, or maybe you've done it and you're like, what is her problem? It's not that big of a deal. For me, it's a big deal.
Right. Well, I know for a lot of people, that is overwhelming and overwhelming. To be honest, the whole show can be overwhelming. But I've had a few friends who have maybe seen / heard the new sections of the show that is even different from Disneyland, and it sounds pretty incredible, is what they're saying. So
we'll really definitely go do it.
And I'm probably gonna vlog it.
Yeah, well, I put it when you see me in November, we should go do it.
Oh, that'd be really sweet. And tell me about it, because then I'm gonna have to, because I think it's already hard to come by studio reservations, so we're gonna have to get on that, Jen. This week, there is a magical set of people that make this show a possibility, a dream worth having, a Mr. Toad's wild ride.
But without hell.
Or with hell. That's a Catherine Hahn wink for you.
Yeah.
This episode has been decided by our patrons.
Yay! How many patrons do we have now?
63.
What? Yeah, 63?
63 whole people?
It seems like when we started, we had 0.
Because we did. Okay. Our patrons are really incredible. When we were in Disneyland, I referred to them all of the time to decide things for me, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. And Kelsey's like, I don't care. Then I would ask the patrons, and the patrons would decide. The patrons got the vlogs early. They get special behind the scenes content, whatever. But most importantly, they decide, they support us whether we gave the penny or the earth.
So, for those of you, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I hear other creators talk about Patreon, I don't understand Patreon. Basically, if you're a content creator, there are different ways that you can be paid for the work that you do. And I have always believed strongly that people should be paid for the work that they do. So you can either chase down sponsorships and advertisements, which neither Liam or I wanted to do, or you can do something like Patreon, where people are supporting your work. And it's, I always would say it's, think of it like, PBS. You pay monthly and you get stuff for it, like a little NPR tote bag. Or in our case, you just get like exclusive digital things. And for me though, our patrons are more just like an amazing community. So we don't want to go on and on about it, because you can go to patreon.com/unlimited time magic. Is it just unlimited time magic, or is
you got it right.
And it'll tell you everything you need to know. And you can kind of, when you go on, if you're not joined, just to kind of check it out, you won't be able to read the post, but you'll be able to see how often we post. And Liam is the one who's in charge of it. So he's on there way more than I am, but I was very proud, Liam, to finally be, it was such a small amount, it was ridiculous. But what happens is Liam takes a set amount as the producer of the podcast, since he does all the work and I just show up in a ball cap and, crack wise. And then we split the remaining proceeds. When I say it's not a lot, I told him on Instagram, I was like, please do not do an hourly calculation of how much you get paid for this podcast.
Then we will stop doing it.
Well, because then we also have other costs, like different subscriptions we have to pay for, technology costs, whatever. Right. We do not need to beleaguer the point. The point is, it does cost money to run the podcast, and people should get paid for the work that they do. And Patreon is allowing us to do that. So thank you, patrons. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we're sorry if we have to take a little bit of time out of the episode to talk about it, but I would rather do that than take time out of the episode to tell you about, glasses to go, or, whatever the case may be, because then it's about people and community, which is really what we want.
Guys, if you go to Patreon for this holiday season, you will be getting a song.
Who's singing? Am I singing?
Both of us are, sister.
Oh. Good to know.
I said so. Oh, and maybe we'll put it up to vote this week. I will put it up to vote what classic classic Christmas song Jen and I will record this holiday season, and it won't be. We don't
Baby,
talk about
it's
Bruno.
Cold outside, and it won't be the Christmas shoes,
and it won't be Into the Unknown. Imagine we just go Into the Unknown one. But yeah. So we asked our patrons this week what they wanted to see and hear, and they asked us a lot of questions. So do you want to just head right on in, Jen?
Sure, let's do it. So it's Q&A brought to you by patrons.
I'm gonna just go at random. That's fun, right?
Random shuffle, baby.
Okay, so our friend Nicole's always great. She always is so funny on Patreon. She says, what are your favorite musical theater soundtracks or cast recordings? There's more to the question, but let's start there.
Okay, so mine is super weird, and it is. He already knows it, and he thinks it's weird, and it's Liam. So if Liam thinks it's weird, it must be really weird.
It's just such
the 2002 cast recording of Man of La Mancha. So also, I told you that I was in Man of La Mancha, right? Yeah, that I'm not on Broadway or anything. Fountain Hills Community Theater.
On Broadway.
Which,
in 2001.
Fountain Hills Community Theater, hopefully no one is listening from there, but it had some mob ties. So that's all I'm going to say.
Are they closed? Did they get shut down by the mob?
No, they're open. They're open. So anywho, not like direct, but like Fountain Hills has a high population of retired mob people go up to Fountain Hills, Arizona. And a lot of them were involved in the shows up there. I don't know if they still are or not. But
he loves murder and also Annie. He loves it.
So I played his niece in Man of La Mancha, the one that's trying to get him committed to a home and whatever, in the song with the priest, whatnot. But it's an ensemble cast. So everyone who isn't Dulcinea or the little guy, whatever his name is, Pancho Vita. What's the little guy's name? Is that it?
That sounds great.
And or Dulcinea plays a bunch of other parts. That's the way the cast works. It's beautifully done. And the 2002 cast recording, if I listen to it from beginning to end when I'm having a bad day, I just get done with it and I just feel better. And you know what it is? This idea of Dulcinea, and I'm only going to get nerdy here for 33 seconds. Time me. So she's this forgotten, unwanted, undesirable, scorned prostitute. And he sees her as this beautiful heroine. And because he sees her that way, he turns her into, well, she turns herself into the heroine of her own life because someone saw her for more. And
a beautiful
that,
moral.
Oh, it just gets to me every time. And the very last scene when he's dying, oh, I'm saying,
spoiler,
listen to the whole thing. If you've never even listened to that soundtrack, you might not even know that To Dream the Impossible Dream is from that musical. It's like the big song that everyone seems to know. I don't know. Anyway,
also Voices of Liberty have started to do a version of that.
Have they really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they
well,
added
and especially
Derek Johnson. It was a chart when they opened, and then they did away with it and they brought it back.
In Dark Days, which Man of La Mancha was also written about dark days.
True.
You need your heroes, and heroes sometimes come in unremarkable forms. And that, my friends, is the message of Man of La Mancha.
And all of a sudden, Jen and I's story sounds really familiar. I said, Jen, you're Dusty on YouTube channel. You prostitute.
And I'm going to pluck you from obscurity.
You don't need to prostitute yourself anymore on YouTube than you already do.
No, you were like old school Hollywood guy with the big cigar in his mouth. Come on, kid, I'm gonna make you a star.
I feel like I'd just be Cruella de Vil. Like, I gotta make you a star.
Yeah, you turned it into a drag queen version of the Hollywood guy. That was a moment.
Fun.
I like it. Fun. Visually, I'm on board with that.
Visually, I like it. My favorite cast recording, I have a lot. But I always go back to the 2005 version of Sweeney Todd. It was a 13-person cast, and they played their own instruments, so it's really cool.
Is it better than when they did Joanna on The Office? Have you seen the Office version? Yeah, you've seen the Office version when he does Sweeney Todd.
Literally iconic. I also am a big Next to Normal fan. I've never seen another musical talk about like the pharmaceutical business and like the woes.
I've never seen that musical. Never even listened to it.
When I say light trigger warning for you, just ever so lightly, not anything too direct, but it has to do with trauma and family, and it's incredible. It's an incredible rock musical.
All right, I will put it on my list.
And then I love Most Happy Fella because it's Bernstein and no, Frank Lesser. It's Frank Lesser, and it's nice and lovely. Sing it. The next part of her question, of Nicole's question, is what is your favorite Disney film classic? I think that's actually important. Favorite classic Disney film and why, animated or otherwise?
Well, question though, clarifying question.
What counts as classic?
What counts? Like, what would be
Golden
not
Age.
Classic?
Golden Age.
What do you mean? Oh, so like
anything hand drawn.
Like Return to Halloween Town.
Yeah, that would not be Golden Age.
You know what I need more of?
What?
I want a special episode of Unlimited Time Magic meant just for me. I want a great community. I want voting privileges. And sometimes I want to be harassed by Liam Munn. And all of that can be yours.
You know what I want?
What?
For you never to do that voice again. And also to be in the shot. So seriously, we would love it if you would join us on Patreon, but there's no pressure. I'm holding sunscreen because Liam just bought it for me. But yeah, there's no pressure.
There's no pressure, but you might get... So think of Patreon as your own sunblock. Without us, you could survive, but you'd be burned.
We cannot do what we do without you. Doobie-doo.
You can find our Patreon by searching in the search engine at patreon.com or in our link tree found in our Instagram. For as little as $5 a month, you get one bonus episode every single month, behind-the-scenes footage, helpful tricks and hints to your favorite parks, and one really great community. Links can be found in the link tree.
Though Debbie Reynolds is a shout out to Singing in the Rain.
I was gonna say, except for anything with Debbie Reynolds in it.
My favorite classic animated film.
Yes.
Or classic film, animated or otherwise.
What are you gonna say? Final answer.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
I think that counts as Golden Age. It's the first live action they made. I'm going to count it as Golden Age and say.
Well, because too, you love Saving Mr. Banks, and because of the tie-in there and how beautiful it is.
And what a beautiful score and what a aesthetically pleasing film. Incredible. What's yours?
I'm changing my answer from what I said earlier when we spoke.
Well, I also read the question kind of not wrong, but as like a classic Disney movie, a Golden Age, right?
Yeah. I'm going to go with, I can I can show it.
I love it.
Um,
What's the name of it?
Lady and the Tramp, I'm gonna go
I
with.
don't think
And
I've
so
ever
let me
seen
show
it.
you. Hold on. Okay, so there's a song. You've never seen Lady and the Tramp?
I don't think so.
How?
I'm
Okay,
not
there's a
old.
song called La La Lu. That was what I used to sing to my children every night before bed. Okay.
Aw.
Do you know it? You'd probably know it.
No.
La La
La, la,
Lu.
lu.
It was actually Peggy Lee sang it. No, we were just
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Peggy Lee.
Yeah, Peggy
Peggy
Lee.
Lee sang it. La La Lu, oh my little star sweeper, I'll sweep the stardust for you. It's like very gentle, lilty, beautiful. So the last line, Peggy Lee, it's her voice in this part, says, "There now, little star sweeper, dream on." And it's just like this, so gorgeous. My son made this for me last Christmas. This was what was under the Christmas tree for me. And if you're listening and not watching, it's gilded frame, and he embroidered "There now, little star sweeper, dream on." And
I
this
could
was,
cry.
it was,
You
when
cried.
I
You
opened it, you
bawled.
should have seen, I don't think I recovered. I don't think I'm still recovered.
That's
So
beautiful. That's really, really nice.
anyway, that movie was very special to me. It was very special to my kids. Of course, dogs, dog, it's got everything I love. It's got
Dogs.
dogs, it's got Italian food.
And it has carbs. Moving on.
And it has carbs. No, you would love Lady and the Tramp.
I feel
I'm
like I would
surprised
too.
that you haven't seen it. It's very good.
It'll
But
go on
yes,
my list.
I adore it.
So thank you, Nicole, for your question. Emily asks, how did you find the right therapist? Shopping around. I know it sounds awful, but Jen actually said this in the previous episode we recorded, which I took to heart because I really loved it. She was like, it is clinical. Like it is, there needs to be a professionalism to it, and there needs to be a mission and a goal. And sometimes when it feels too personal, like your friends, it doesn't really feel like you're getting any work done. And, if it's a small journal entry or a small thing to start the session, it needs to be a catalyst of why you're wanting to start that day for that session. And that it takes some shopping around to find the right therapist. So I know I went through 2 different therapists before I found my current. And what about you, Jen?
So based what you just said, I have actually struggled with just recently the whole making it too personal thing.
Right.
Because I did become friends with my therapist, and it just doesn't really work because she was starting to put, this is probably me, not her so much, but I felt like too much of and it's the same therapist that Scott and I had used for couples counseling too, which is also not always the best idea.
Yeah, it's interesting that you used it for both.
Yeah. And she saw me through all of my PTSD trauma recovery work, which is very different than just talk therapy, which is what I really need right now. And it just felt, I don't know, I'm going to say that it was mostly me, but I think the important thing is, I think what people do is they finally get up the nerve to make an appointment and to go, and they find somebody. Maybe they find them through, what is it, Better Health, that's online,
Growth therapy or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Or it's a personal recommendation or whatever. They finally get up the nerve to go, and then they don't click with the therapist. They don't feel comfortable. I would say always give it 2 sessions before you decide that it's a definite no, because sometimes you're just anxious and you're bringing a lot to the room that isn't actually there. So give it a couple of sessions, but it has to feel comfortable, and you have to feel safe, and you have to feel
particular, right? Like, okay, they're not my friend, but it's almost like a school teacher in the 3rd grade that you love seeing, because it's professional and it's not inappropriate. You're not friends, but it's like this weird thing.
I like that my current therapist is quite a bit older than I am. I think there's something to be said for that. Someone that's not too much your same demographic can be helpful.
Someone again from different walks of life. I think that helps.
You don't watch Real Housewives at all, do you?
I don't.
Okay, because Andy Cohen there's this one, Dorit Kinsley, and she's always going on and on and on. And Andy's always having to stifle a yawn. And she's always like, "Am I boring you, Andy?" So if you're not watching on YouTube, Liam just totally yawned, but it is getting on 6 o'clock.
I'm a sleepy girl, and I have to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, so
Emily,
just be diligent and don't give up until you find somebody. You may have to
Right.
kiss a couple frogs. That's totally
until
normal.
you find your prince.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
wishing on stars was for babies and
For
crazy people. Anyways, and that is a Princess and the Frog reference.
yes, of course it is.
Do you, Emily also asks, do you think annual passes will be coming back for new purchasers? Obviously, she's talking about Florida because Magic Keys are still a thing in California.
Yeah, for the moment. No, I'm sorry. They're not selling new Magic Keys. They're only allowing renewals currently.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think you and I both agree that it'll be back.
Yep.
You know, things will change, but also
I think they need to weed out some of the current I don't know what Disney's doing. I act like I know, like I can say I priced out just for fun a
oh yeah, I saw you do
7-night trip for 2 adults and 2 kids at the yacht club with a park hopper, which is the trip that we used to take when the kids were young. In our case, though, it would be 3 kids, but we would do deluxes because we could all 5 fit in the room. And it was $7,000. And that was before you even did Genie Plus or food or souvenirs or, God forbid, anything like the Christmas
do you
party
remember
or
how
the
much
Halloween
it was
party.
when you did it?
Yes, because we were able to do it. We stayed at the Contemporary. At the time, Delta got a 40% discount at Disney hotels. I remember that the room was $187 a night, I think. And we're not talking 1923. We're talking, early 2000s.
When the wagon was created, we're talking.
And yeah, and I think we brought that trip in at just under $2,000 for the week. So
that is crazy.
It's not when people say, "Oh, well, that's just what luxury vacations cost." To me, it's the percentage increase that when you look at that historically, and those that's math, right? Those numbers are available. It does get pretty bananas, and really quickly
bonkers.
To the point where honestly, if we didn't own DVC. And if this wasn't my business and if I didn't have an annual pass, we would be going like every other year at this point because there would just be it just wouldn't make any sense. So $7,000 is a semester at a state school.
Emily's, yes, it'll be back. Don't worry. They always come back. However, I do see a shift and change in Disney thinking more about the people who would pay $7,000 freely for a vacation versus an annual pass holder who would spend a little under $1,000 for a year worth of Disney. So
I think the first ones to come back for new sales will for sure be the Disney Vacation Club option, because those are people who purchased a product knowing they're going to come every year. And so
they do need admission.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Alicia asks, you may have said this before and I apologize in advance, but how did you guys meet? Or how did you become such good friends? That's the first part of that question. Well, number one, we aren't friends. 2, we are arch nemesis. 3, I am her dog handler. So when she's on vacation and because she doesn't like to pick up poop, like that's her main thing. She's like, I love my dogs, but like, oh, poop, that's crazy. So that is our relationship.
Yes, no. Well, yes. And none of what you just said is even close to being true. Yeah, so I don't even know. We just are friends. No, he reached out. We've said this before, so I don't want. Yeah, I know. He reached out. He loved my channel because I don't know why. Sometimes I watch my own channel and I'm like, I don't know why anyone loves my channel, but he loved my channel. He was like, I think you're really awesome. I want you on my podcast. I was like, okay. Then we ended up talking for like 2 hours after, and we've been friends ever since. And that's it.
Period.
And kind of boring.
Yeah, Chaya does just favor YouTube channel. Whose idea was it to do the podcast? Mine.
No, and you go ahead. Are you telling the story or am I?
Number 1, do not go after my family. 2, that's a Rachel Dratch reference from SNL. A Real Housewives reference because it was a Real Housewives of SNL. She goes, "We are family." She just couldn't say family right. I was like, oh, I love that. It was mine, but that was purely because, I mean, it was what? We had known each other for like a year at that point, a year and a half. Because I think we're just getting on year 2 of knowing each other, I think. And I've always
What are
wanted
you
to
getting
work
me
with
for
Jen.
our anniversary?
A
Tower of Terror
postcard.
postcard.
I no, so I Jen is, there's a list of people that I would love to work with creatively. Jen was on that list, and I basically was like, do you want to work together? And I had this idea, and I truly did get a producer pitch together. I said, like, let's think of this idea, let's create something together, not just a Disney podcast, let's create something that isn't already a thing or already created. And
well, and one thing that I am glad that we re-recorded, because I get the chance to mention the fact that I actually told you that I really felt like you had something, that you were great on air, that your voice was great on the podcast that you had done previously, that I really saw so much potential in you. So it wasn't sometimes I feel like you act like you think I'm amazing, and then you reached out, and that's so I also think you're amazing, and told you so, and said, I think you've got a lot to bring to the table. That was why we ended up talking that 2 hours initially, as I was helping him work through, just as someone who has been through some stuff creatively, how can you get this where you want it to be? That was like the whole point of our conversation. Right. So, it's definitely, and then our chemistry is really good. And we had I done 2 episodes of your podcast, and then we did the Grinch reading.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we'd never spent time together and recorded it. We knew that we could carry the show, I guess. And that's a funny thing people I think don't realize, is you can't just get 2 people. Well, you can. Anybody can start a podcast. And y'all have heard bad podcasts. Maybe you think this is a bad podcast. I hope that you don't. We just passed 30,000 listens. So I don't think you think it's a bad podcast. And we did get monetized on YouTube. So yeah. So there's something there, there's something there. But you can't just put 2 people on a microphone and say, carry a show for an hour. It does. In fact, you can have very talented people that can't do that together. Either one of them monopolizes the conversation, or they're Liam. See what I did? I was like, because I monopolize the conversation. No, shut up.
Sorry, I was asleep. What did you say? You just grab 2 free, and also you need an idea. Like I always tell people this when they're like, I want to make a podcast. I'm like, you will die a slow, painful death if you do even longer than 6 episodes of something that you are not passionate about. And the minute that we landed on the idea of combining Disney with mental health, having people on the show, not only clinical professionals, but also people who love Disney, and sometimes they're 2 of the same thing. And together we wanted to create just a business that we felt passionate about. And that's why our patrons mean so much to us, because we could have so much inspiration and so much passion for our projects, but it's the people behind us that really give us the ability to do that.
Well, also we wanted to do something that we didn't see in the current sphere.
Yeah.
We were both getting very fatigued from Disney toxic positivity. And then the other side of the coin, Disney, just people that just hate on Disney all the time. And we didn't see ourselves in the Disney influencer sphere.
Right.
And we were like, we kind of want to talk about the difference between, using Disney as an escape and using it to numb, and why using it to numb isn't healthy. And what does it look like and acknowledging that a lot of us that are really into Disney also have some serious mental health things. A lot of us had trauma as children. What does that look like? Not being afraid to talk about things. And so I think it was the first show when one of us brought up suicidal ideations, and I was like, and we're off.
And that's episode 1. Start clapping. Yay.
It's like 1 minute we're like, it's a great big beautiful tomorrow, and about suicidal ideations. And so like somehow making those things, normalizing the conversation, I think is a huge passion for both of us. Right. Normalizing the conversation around getting help when you need it, being on medication when you need it, going to a therapist when you need it, and not making those things shameful is kind of the heartbeat of what we're trying to do here. So
and not only that, but it's like it's one and the same with the happiest moments on earth.
Yep.
It just
That's
is.
right.
Both of them
And
deserve your
you
attention
can
and
talk
respect.
about all of
Both.
it. And it's safe to say both things are true at the same time because we can walk and chew gum. So
Sometimes. So thank you for that. And then Christmas is coming along. Alicia also asked this. Christmas is coming along. Any advice for Christmas at Disneyland versus Disney World? Nope.
Yeah, no, I'm leaving for, I have a Disney World trip coming up. This literally occurred to me today because I was trying to organize my Christmas ears and stuff. Jesus, I got to get you to bed. Look at you.
I know what you're talking about. She just starts talking and I yawn. And the best part is I'm
I
seeing
just
my
pulled
mother
out
after this.
my Christmas ears. I'm doing the Christmas party at Disney World, and then I'm headed like literally 10 days later to Disneyland
Why
to
do you
do
do
their
that to yourself? That's
Christmas
crazy.
house. Well, it's easier to do Disney
Land
World
World.
and then Disneyland because I don't have a time change with Disney World. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And the Disneyland trip was just very last minute, and I'm going with my oldest son who really loves Disneyland as much as I do. And I was like, oh, I really would love to see the Christmas decoration. It just kind of, and I had
Worked
one of
itself
those companion passes with Delta that was going to expire. So his ticket was free and, on and on. It just worked out. So
that works.
we are staying, let me say this really quick, at the Hyatt Regency Orange County. And I'm not giving exact dates, so I can tell you where we're staying. But guess what our rate was for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom suite?
127.
Oh, shut up. Don't do that. My husband does that. How much do you think this dress was? $11? No, it wasn't $11.
It was $300.
$315 a night.
That's not bad at all.
At the Hyatt Regency. Now, the Hyatt Regency. It has a shuttle. This is the international sign for shuttle because it's really too far to walk, but it drops you off. And I used it last time and it works brilliantly. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Oh wow!
So
Where are you staying at Disney World?
I am staying at.
If you say the Riviera, I am gonna
West.
Okay, thank God.
No, I did schedule Riviera though. I scheduled a 1-bedroom at the Riviera in May. You can come visit. Anyway, I haven't done Disneyland at California for many years. And so I'm very excited because I get to see my toy soldiers, which I'm very committed to, and all of the things. So there you go.
Disney World, you have to be there for the vibes or you won't do anything else because it's so busy. But as long as you're there to have a good time and enjoy the company that you were with, go see shows, come see Candlelight Processional, even if you are not Christian or super about Jesus. It is a show about hope and believing in one another, and it's really, really good music, most importantly, and that brings people together. And go see Voices of Liberty caroling because it's super fun and super good. Emma goes, oh, this is a cute question. Out of all the Disney companions, who would you choose? Mine is a tie between, what's the pug's name in Pocahontas?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna call him Governor Ruffkins.
Oh, are we talking about sidekicks though? Are we talking about
Disney animal companions?
See, maybe we should record every episode twice because I misunderstood the question the first time too. We're talking about actual sidekicks.
Yeah, the question is genuinely Disney animal companions.
Oh, well, that's wildly specific.
The pug from Pocahontas or Pip from Enchanted. Because Apple is good.
Okay, now that I understand the question, mine would be Nana from Peter Pan. Because she's so cute. She's really so cute. And when she's like trying to like protect them and then they're flying away and she's like, what?
It's so cute. I'm also a big fan of in Princess and the Frog. I think Ray is fun. I like Ray a lot. When he dies, it's really sad.
Oh, it's so sad.
It's so sad.
Evangeline.
Aaron asks, Aaron is such a good friend of the podcast. Any tricks to get yourself motivated on a day when you're just not? Not necessarily a day when you're...
Wait. Any tricks to get you motivated on a day when you're just not? No. Any tricks to get you motivated?
We are now talking about line readings for voiceover. Any tricks to get yourself motivated on a day when you're just
okay. Now can you do it for me as a monkey?
Okay. Now, hi. Sorry.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
could you do it for us on a day when you're really sad? Please. Go ahead. No, I didn't ask for coffee. No, I don't. I'm on a reading. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Any tricks to get yourself motivated on a day when you're just...
Now do it as Mickey Mouse.
Hi, pal. Any tricks to get yourself... I don't have a Mickey Mouse. I don't have any of the Fab Five. I wish I did. Anyways, Aaron asks, any tricks to get yourself motivated on a day when you're just not necessarily a day when you should just listen to your body and rest, but one where you're just not feeling it. Talk about your heat lamp. Come on.
I have a heat lamp.
You've got a heat lamp that gets you vitamin D because you're lazy. 1, 2, you're like,
I need sunshine, and
Three.
it helps. And the heat and the sunlight helps me with motivation.
And
but
your
the other thing
immune disease.
I don't have autoimmune disease. Yeah, that's right. That was the really great point that I made the first time we recorded this episode. I feel exhausted. It's 8 days out of 10. I feel exhausted. Okay. That's the reality of my situation.
I know, I'm yawning.
I have all these tactics. I get dressed from head to toe. I put makeup on. I put perfume on. I put on music. I dance around. I get exercise. I get fresh air. And if all of those things have not worked, I go back to bed.
And that's it, isn't it?
Because you just...
There's no point fighting.
No. Some days you just
I'm not going to say just
happen.
give in, but similar to Jen, I love a good piece of exercise and I always feel better. And it's always...
I love a good piece
exercise. And I've started doing things that I'm bad at.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Like podcasting.
I just took up cooking and renovating my house. So like something I'm not skilled at whatsoever. And I think it's really important to do things you're bad at. And sometimes we glorify our work that we're good at in order to feel better about ourselves and our lives. And I'm like, no, just like commit yourself to something that you don't necessarily need to. And suddenly the things that you quote unquote have to do, which I also am big on language. I never say I have to do this. I try my best to be like, no, I want to. Like, I want to do the podcast. And I know at the end of the day, I'd rather do the podcast than not, or work at Disney, have to, versus no, I get to. I think that's really, really important. But basic things, I'm really big on drinking 4 liters of water a day. I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, I think when you're not motivated to start looking. So here's something I just told my next door neighbor. We were talking about this very issue. We chat in the cul-de-sac in the suburbs here north of Atlanta, because she also has autoimmune disease, which is why we talk a lot about this. Look at your life on the day when you had a really great day. And here's why this is challenging, because we tend to not document the good days. We only think about the bad days.
Ones. Yeah.
Okay. So on the good day, what you're going to do is journal, what did I do that made today good? Does that make sense? So like flip it around. And it's like, what was different? Was it the energy of the people I was around? Did I eat particularly well? Was it that I got a good night's sleep? Does that make sense? And so then you can start over time having a pattern where you can start to see. By the way, going back to when you go to a therapist, this is super helpful information for a therapist too, because if you can say, actually, if I don't protect my sleep, I'm not thriving.
Function. Yeah.
Like I just can't be my best self. So that means you're going to set boundaries in your life to protect your sleep at all cost. Maybe for you, it's certain kinds of stress or certain kinds of whatever. What you can't control everything. There's so much, there's far more we can't control than what we can. But our little sphere, it's amazing how much food and rest and exercise, the
basic human things.
Yeah, it's just back to basics.
And I want us to all carry, including myself, I've had a pretty stressful week. Hey, Mrs. Parr, Jack's looking a little weird. I am her, and I am stressed. However...
Yeah, I love the headgear. The headgear is what you need.
Mrs. Parr, I think we all need to take a minute, including myself, which I'm going to do so after this, and just take a moment to go read, do the thing that sets you up for the week, because tomorrow is my Monday. And just know that there are people rooting for you. There just is. Whether it's your family members or whether it's your friends or whether it's us, we genuinely want you to have an incredible week. And going to therapy is literally like your vegetables every single day. Like you feel better that you're serving yourself because you are worth serving. Period.
That's beautiful.
And my friends, I think it's time for a great little announcement that we're coming back for season 3. God. Oh my, you know what I want played at my wedding?
What?
Dun, 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 dun. Can you feel the love tonight? Just from the mega mix of Festival of Lion King.
It's all anyone wants. Really.
Can you feel it? Oh,
if Scott and I were going to get married again, we would do From Muppets Take Manhattan. There's the song at their wedding that's so beautiful. We would do that song.
And I will sing it as Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
We are coming back for season 3. Every single time that we prepare for a new season, we have a jar of ideas, literally, of things that we want to do, things we want to create, people we want on the show. And there are more things to be done. There's more things to be done. And this go around, however, we will not be taking as long as a hiatus. So we've decided as long as we're doing this show, we will take the summer off. Gives Jen an actual vacation and an actual rest time. It also gives me time to think of the show and the business, and also will take a rest myself. And so we're going to take about 2 weeks off, and then we're going to come back in late November, I think
just in time for Christmas.
Yes. We are going to do something fun for Christmas. We don't know what yet, but please follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic, because you're going to get everything there. So whether we do special YouTube videos, live streams, which we do have some coming up, so we will leave that information on Instagram. So please, friends, follow along. And to our patrons, you know how we feel about you.
Thank you. We love you.
Have a good week.
We can't do what we do without you, Doobie-Doo.
And now this is going to be frozen on this pose.
Another episode of Unlimited Time Magic is through. Please follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic. Support us on Patreon if you'd like to do that. Plenty of benefits. It's really, really great. And we're not on Main Street, but we will see you on Main Street. Look, it's out there. Nailed it.